on his 24, 286 yards, 3 touchdowns. Still a dude.
Better than this. Guys being dudes.
Matt Ryan,
That's a dude.
Heisman Trophy. Bronco Nagurski Award.
Ultimate
Raji
dudes.
on my left, Herzlich on my right.
2 dudes.
O-line you.
Bunch of dudes.
Dudes to the right, dudes to the left, stuck in the middle with you.
WZBC, the Boston College Radio Network, the voice of the Eagles.
Hello and welcome to Two Dudes Sports Show here on WZBC, Boston College Radio Network. I'm Quinn Kelly.
Wow, it's not working. Is it working? It's not working.
It's not coming
No.
through me.
Work. No. Yes.
No.
No.
Nope.
Yeah.
All right, well,
no.
in any
Yes. No.
case, get that figured out. I'm Quinn Kelly here with TJ Hartnett.
What if I just couldn't talk the entire
it's
show?
like flashing in and out. Always an adventure
Hello?
with Mike's here
Hello.
at WZBC
Hello.
in the AM studio.
Hello.
Still struggling.
Yes. No.
Like there's a little bit coming through. All right, we're gonna.
Hello.
Oh, look
that's
at that.
what you do. You just
kind of
slam
bang it around.
Hello.
There we go.
Okay,
All
it's just
right,
gonna keep
just gonna
going.
leave
And
it
okay,
like
we're
that.
good. Yes, as you said, you're Quinn Kelly. I'm
Yep.
TJ Hartnett, and we are here. Two Dude Sports Show off from Thanksgiving break. We are back, and a lot happened while we were gone.
A lot
happened, and it
Yep.
involves the world of college football. College football is what happened, and we have a lot to talk about. We're going to go from Boston College to bowl projections to the college football playoff, and then we're going to talk about NFL because NFL has been shaken up too over the past 2 weeks at the Thanksgiving football games to Brady in Green Bay. So we have a lot to talk about, and we will start right off. Boston College, they had 2 games since the last time we've been on. They played Florida State, the still undefeated Seminoles at home. And unfortunately, after a very valiant effort, lost 20-17, so a low-scoring game. Interesting game for Boston College, a game that they actually could have won.
Should have won.
Unfortunately, did not exactly. Should have won. Coaching errors, kicking mistakes, just a whole realm of interesting things that happened that could have easily went Boston College's way. And then the other game was Syracuse this Saturday in Chestnut Hill. Fantastic game for Boston College. Probably one of the best overall team performances they had this entire year.
Everything was clicking.
Yeah, what a fantastic job. We both watched that on TV.
Yep.
I was home for the holidays, obviously, but it was a fantastic game. Definitely saw a lot from the team. So if you want to start off, you want to talk about Florida State, or you want to go straight into Syracuse?
We'll go a little bit quickly over Florida State. Just give you a little update on that. So obviously both our predictions were correct. Florida State ended up
Numbers
winning.
were off though. We had really high scoring games.
We did. BC kept it close. BC had a really good game. Great game defensively. Stifled Jameis Winston. As the announcers were saying, it's been a trend this year for Florida State to come out and play poorly in the first half and then really pick it up. And Jameis just finds his stride in the second half and just lights it up.
Sure.
Didn't do that in this game. BC kept him in control the whole time. Early on in the game, though, freshman kicker comes out. What's the name of it? He's escaping me.
Mike Knoll
comes out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 40-yarder.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Huge confidence booster for the kid, too.
Absolutely.
When you're facing probably the best kicker in college football, too,
right.
It was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It was interesting to have Knoll go out there and hit that. I was surprised I didn't see Howell, but Howell's been doing a lot of the punting duties recently.
Yeah.
And Knoll hit every single PAT in that game, too.
Yep.
So that's just the pre-story to what happened for the rest of the game.
So 17-7, come out, move the ball down the field a little bit, have it inside around the 30, and BC decides 4th down. All right, let's go for a 43-yard field goal, 3 yards longer than the one Knoll hit previously. Mm-hmm. But instead of sending Knoll out to hit the field goal that's just slightly longer than the one he already hit,
correct.
Let's put the game in the hands of our 50-50 field goal guesser, Alex Howell,
right,
who then proceeds to go out, shank the field goal, give Florida State great field position.
Boot on it.
Had enough
he
boot
never
on
has
it.
a problem with that.
No,
he never
he's got
does.
the leg.
And he's hit big field goals before.
Sure.
That's why I don't have a problem with him being out there. The only problem I see is why you had Knoll out there doing the entire game. Because, Howell, other than punting, was completely cold. You can practice all you want on the sidelines. If you send a guy in there who hasn't kicked a field goal the entire game just to kick the game-winning field goal, basically, I mean, of course he's going to be first nervous, second cold. He's not going to know how to. Was it? I think was it raining too? I think maybe not.
Yeah,
I don't
the
know.
conditions
I think
weren't great,
the conditions
but
were
I'm
not
sure if it
great.
was raining
There's just
for
a
his
lot going on during this point, and you send Howell out there.
I just don't understand.
It didn't make
what
sense
is that,
to
what
me.
does that say? All right, so great. You know, you want to go with the seniority.
No, I
there.
completely get that. But if you go
what
with the
does that
seniority
say?
for the
What
whole
does that
game.
say to Noel? All right, Howell's gone in 2 games. Gone in 2 games. Any
Yeah.
bad feelings he's going to have can be nursed or worked around. If he wants to get upset about it, that's great. You know, he's gone. It's 2 games that we can work without Howell. That's fine. What does it say to Mike Noel, who has gone out there, hit every kick that you've put in front of him so far in this game, and then doesn't get the vote of confidence in the 4th quarter? You're lucky to be in the game as it is. So, you know what? Send out Noel. If you don't make it, you don't make it. But, like, what does it say to Noel, who's sitting on the sideline?
That I could have ever
only gonna be
thought,
resentful?
like, right when that happened, I was thinking, the first thing I thought was, oh, God, Noel's hurt. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that came to mind. I was like, maybe he's not. Maybe it's just a seniority reason. And then I thought, it could be possible that that's the reason they're sending him out there for. And by all the research that I've put into it, everything that I've looked at, I didn't think, or I didn't see that Noel was hurt at all.
I don't believe
he kicked
he
in
was.
Syracuse.
Yeah, he
kicked
did.
perfectly
He was fine.
fine in Syracuse. He did miss one, but that's okay. But he did kick perfectly fine in Syracuse. He's not. I don't think he was hurt as far as I could see.
No.
So,
I just feel
I don't
like
know.
that breeds
What was the-
resentment in a kid who's you've got here for the next 3 years. Howell's gone in 2 games.
Yeah.
Noel has now 3 years to
and
sit and stew.
Lunsford's gone.
I didn't get the vote of confidence here. I don't know if he's thinking to himself, well, you know, if he has the sight to see past the just saying, well, I could hit that if I went out there. I'm sure that's not the way he's thinking. I'm
No.
sure he's got the maturity about it. But I'd be pissed if I was him.
Oh,
How do
yeah.
you not give me that opportunity?
If you want to
I've
set the
earned it.
scenario and say, what if? Just say you send Noel out there and he misses it. Do you think anybody goes, why didn't we send Howell out for that one?
No, because
I don't
he
think
stunk
anybody
the whole
really
season.
says that. Other than, the only big field goal he's really hit was Virginia Tech to win the game.
Yeah.
Was Howell.
Yep.
But that was also because he was kicking the entire game.
Right, exactly.
That's what he was doing.
Yeah,
The only thing he didn't kick was PATs. That was Lunsford's job, and obviously he hasn't done a fantastic job at that either.
No.
It's a whole kicking spectrum of things that have gone wrong, and each game a kicker can take a blame. And I don't think on this game any kicker is to blame. You're going to blame somebody, it's going to be the coaching staff.
Right,
That's who
and-
I'm blaming.
and
I'm
I'll
not
say
mad
this.
at Howell.
No.
I'm not mad at him at all.
Well,
He's had his he is someone
I'm
that's
not mad at him in that, like, it's not his fault that he did what he's been doing
Right.
all season. Like, the fact that he's still on the kicking roster and he's not just a full-time punter now
Correct.
is unbelievable.
He's an
to me.
unbelievable punter.
He's a great punter.
I honestly
but,
think
you know
he
what?
could go to the NFL for punting.
Sure, but like, you're not a kicker.
But why is he? Why I don't?
I'm very interested to think, like, what could possibly have been the interactions on the sidelines that made Adazio go, all right, let's go with Howell.
I mean, I'm sure Noel wanted to be in there. I'm sure he didn't go, yeah, let Alex have it.
Yeah.
I'm sure Noel didn't say that.
No,
so,
because that's a freshman moment
Yeah.
who's like, I can go out there and win this game against Florida State,
and you miss
come
it.
back and be a champion.
What are you going to do? You missed it. Congratulations.
Right, exactly.
It's a 43-yard field goal. It's a 50-50 shot in any
Yeah.
college football team unless you have a fantastic kicker like Florida State. So
Right.
when Florida State had a 27-yarder to win the game, I mean,
didn't.
I literally I could have turned off the TV, turned it back on, and known what would have happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have been blind and know what happened. It's okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's all I got to say about that. But
It's unfortunate. I've loved Adazio. You love Adazio. He's doing a
I
great
do.
job. He brought in a bunch of
I
good
really
recruiting
hope
classes.
well, now that the 2 jobs have been secured today, Florida and Nebraska, I believe, both got taken today.
Yeah.
There was some hoax with Florida that I read about.
Yeah, like,
about
well,
something,
maybe
yeah.
he'll come back.
No, it was
Oh,
something
no.
with the AD for Florida. Somebody made a fake account and said that they hired this guy. And I don't know if that was ultimately who they hired later in the day or
They
something.
ended up hiring the
Okay.
Colorado State coach.
Yes,
so.
but they did it a lot earlier. That the fake AD account did, and like
That's
ESPN took advantage of it and everything. It was just like it probably said @fake whatever in the handle too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, while we're on the subject, before we move on, could you provide insight on the Bo Pelini firing? Because it just makes no sense to me. Like,
I honestly don't know
how do you
why
win 9?
in this. they were a ranked team. They were a strong. I mean, did they live up to preseason standards? I'm probably going to say no. But they didn't do bad.
No, they didn't.
They're not a bad
He's had
team.
9 wins in each of his every season. I don't understand.
There had to be some. He's a person that I feel like you can either love him or hate him, and I feel like his team loved him.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of things where the players are very upset about it. Yeah. I'm sure he was not loved by administration in there. That's going to be my pretty much reason for his. I don't think there's any other true, because he didn't have any bad seasons with Nebraska.
No, he didn't.
Did he live up to expectations this year? Because I think they had
they were ranked pretty highly.
Yeah, they were ranked highly.
They
ranked a lot. They ranked a lot higher than they finished.
But honestly,
so that's the only thing. But honestly, yeah, exactly. In 2 years to give a coach, there had to be something wrong with administration, or you're going to hear something about something that happened, or he's going on to bigger and better things, or he pulled a Boston College and was talking for some job and gets fired. There's a million things that could have happened, but why after another
9 and 3
season, why?
And it's effective immediately,
down,
correct?
I have no idea. Yeah.
So he doesn't even get the bowl win, or the bowl opportunity. It just makes no sense to me. But in any case,
my favorite thing was the Florida State game. Mm-hmm. Will Muschamp coaching, and it was just like, you're gone already.
Yeah.
And he just like it was what was it? It was their 4th down play, I think, and it was just like it was like one of those things where you easily just could have punted it or easily could have.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what it was. I was watching the game and I was just like, what does Will Muschamp have to lose? I would just you could have done anything in the world and just you're gone anyway. Let's see what I could do here. And then you could have just secured yourself another job if you were to beat Florida State. But I don't think he's a bad coach either. I just think Florida's had some injury problems / personnel issues.
Problems. Did you see the freshman on the sideline? Gerard Willis hitting not in the field of play, just a player standing on the sideline hitting Jameis.
You can't blame him. Sorry.
I mean, I thought it was funny.
It's probably uncalled for.
Oh, definitely.
And that makes an amazing transition to a certain play that happened in the Boston College-Syracuse game. Yeah. I went off. I went so off on 99. Oh, what was his name? Hold up. I tweeted about him. All right, you can continue talk about, but you can set the scene for this brawl. Did you see it live?
I did. I don't remember what exactly led into it.
So it was a early, either a second down, first down play, Asprilla on Boston College, however you want to say it.
Manny Asprilla.
Asprilla, yeah.
Brockton Products.
There you go. I would not have known that.
I just saw a piece about him the other day. He
goes in for a tackle with number 5, our linebacker. Both of them going in for a tackle. They get up. You have some of the O-linemen. You have a wide receiver, and you have the running back who got tackled. All start, it was a lineman, and I don't know exactly who it was, but one of the players on Boston College, really getting into it a little bit. And they started pushing each other, like an after the whistle type, like the lineman still blocking type thing. And then running back gets up, he comes over and shoves. Then Asprilla.
Asprilla, it's a Spanish name.
I'm sorry. Pushes back. I'm not Spanish. Pushes back.
Do you order quesadillas at Chili's?
Touche. What was his name? Ryan Sloan. Okay, Ryan Sloan was his name. Mr. Sloan. What a terrible name for no, actually it's a perfect name for someone that wouldn't be in the game, because that wouldn't, it was disgusting. So it's Ryan Sloan, Ryan Sloan, you don't do anything. So he upsets me so much. So anyway, so a little fire in this rivalry. Okay.
It was big in the Big East, I think.
I didn't know it was a rivalry ever. I never knew it was a rivalry. I mean, maybe it was up here, but
how much did you follow BC football prior to this, though?
No, I didn't.
Right, so...
Yeah, I knew BU was a rivalry. I knew Notre Dame was a rivalry.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know much about... I knew Syracuse probably wasn't liked, just as I know Louisville isn't liked, and all the other teams aren't liked, but...
Anybody from the old Big East, really.
Yeah. So it was pretty interesting to see this really sparked something that I'd really never seen in this team yet. No real fights or anything. It was just a full-on, just a shoving match, no big deal. And then Asprilla goes into the bench area where he's still getting shoved. Now he's around. There's 4 Syracuse active players around him, including the running back, who are shoving him and stuff. And out of nowhere, Ryan Sloan, this 350-pound behemoth who's on the bench without a helmet, just comes over and tackles Manny Esprilla to the ground. Just tackles him. Just full on, edge, just, I don't even know what.
Spearing.
Spear.
Yeah.
The spear. He just speared him like Edge in WWE and just take him to the ground. And I was like, I saw it live and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I can't believe, I was like, that guy wasn't even, I was like, 99, he's probably gonna be like a D lineman, and he was coming from a weird angle.
Yeah.
Like, where's this guy coming from? Just tackles Esprilla. And I was like, and I just see, thousands of flags in the air, hats in the air. And then when they're like, personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct, Syracuse. Personal foul, unsportsmanlike Syracuse. Number 99 been ejected from the game. I screamed. I was so happy. I was like, that is the most action you're ever going to see on your subpar university team. And I was so happy because you are a basketball school. So stay away from football, you disgusting human being. That's all I gotta say. I don't know if he listens to the show. He's not gonna like me, but that was just the most just cheap shot. I mean, you can talk about the guy with Jameis pushing him. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's just
if you want to prove
ridiculous.
something, get on the field and tackle or whatever.
Make a play.
Do
it on
something
the field.
big.
And if you're
Knock
going to
someone-
do something on sportsmanlike conduct, that's fine. It's in the confines of the field. I just really don't have a problem with it. But if you're
Right.
coming off a bench, it's just you're asking for trouble.
Yes.
You're asking for trouble, and it's
If
not
you
fair
wanna-
when it's in your own bench.
I'll give two examples. The craziest thing I've ever seen in football: Andre Johnson and Cortland Finnegan. Have you ever seen
Yes.
that? They just
Great.
whip off their helmet and they're just brawling in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
That's called. Cortland Finnegan is probably the biggest trash talking
It's
safety
awesome, though. It's
yes,
awesome.
because he's someone you want to have on your team so
Yeah,
bad, and you just
For sure.
and you love him. But if you're playing him, you just
Hate him.
he's just disgusting. He's like Richard Sherman too. It's the same idea.
Oh,
you
yeah.
love Richard Sherman, and then other people just literally you did absolutely nothing. Be quiet. Cortland Finnegan's the same thing. He's just that trash talk. Cortland Finnegan versus Steve Smith would be money, music to my ears.
It
It's
would
probably happened, but it was just if you want to do that, fantastic. Show your passion. But you want a cheap shot when you're on the bench? What are you trying to prove?
Yeah.
You literally what? I don't understand. Do you know Manny from back home? Did you just he was one of those guys from the rival town? You're just oh, here he is again. I got to get him now. What are you proving? You're on the bench.
Yeah.
I don't even know how old you are. My guess is you're a fifth-year senior who blew out both of his knees and just. I'm sorry. I'm done on Ryan. I'm done on Ryan Sloan. I literally. It's just disgusting.
All right. So in any case, I mean, not too much analysis, I don't think, to do for the Clemson game. 28-7 win, correct? Yeah.
Syracuse.
Yeah. What?
You said Clemson.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Syracuse.
Same color.
So 28-7 win.
Clemson was not
Took it over handily.
Yeah.
Just a little season recap. Finished 7-5. Good season. Didn't better than people projected us to finish. Good season for Adazio. Good season for the freshman recruits. Could have easily been a 9-win. Could have possibly been a 10-win season. A kicking game didn't hold up a lot of times. We had some plays that didn't fall our way. But in any case, you just move on from here, and we're going to look a little bit at possible bowl games.
Finished in the middle of the pack of the ACC. A strong ACC this year. You have Florida State, who's probably, I want to say probably, but most likely is going to end up in the college football playoff.
They got a better chance than not.
Yes. Georgia Tech, who just snuck into the top 10 or is number 11, very close to it, whatever they were. Fantastic season for them. You have Clemson, you have Louisville, you have even Duke, who just had a minor lapse at the end of the year. You have teams like Pittsburgh, who just have phenomenal running back coming up through the system. You have a very, very good league with a lot of potential going forward.
Yeah, ACC's definitely.
We saw Jimbo Fisher.
Jimbo Fisher came out and commented on he thinks that ACC can go right at it with SEC.
And
you saw this past weekend, the ACC went 4-0 against the SEC.
Yeah.
It's an up-and-coming conference. Yeah, Georgia lost to Georgia Tech.
What a game that was.
That was a good game. Louisville beat Kentucky, no surprise there.
It was closer than you thought, though.
Yeah. Florida State beat Florida, and what's the last one we're missing?
Clemson beat South Carolina.
Clemson beat South Carolina. Yep, there you go.
So
good games all around. ACC did well. They've got a lot of young talent. I mean, just through and through.
Yeah. I was
so it was
extremely happy.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah. So now we're going to talk about bowls. Where's Boston College going? So we're going to talk about where we honestly think they're going to go, where we want them to go, and what's going to be best for the program. So if you want to start off, Blair, where do you honestly think Boston College is going to end up, and who do you think they're going to be playing?
Honestly, I mean, we've got a little bit of we got the bowl projection in front of us, and a lot of people have us looking at the Pinstripe Bowl. I wasn't under the impression that we were that heavily projected
what
to go
happened
there.
recently was I read an article with Notre Dame. Notre Dame, same record as us because they absolutely tanked the final half of their season.
Right.
And the
Pinstripe
main
Bowl doesn't want them.
point was, yes, Pinstripe Bowl having hosted them last year, Notre Dame being high and mighty decided, we're going to put our name and basically it's going to be your privilege to host us. So Notre Dame's going to be entered into a lottery for 3 or 4 ACC bowls that they're going to take. And the main conversation was, is Pinstripe going to put their name in this lottery? I don't know exactly if they did or didn't.
I don't think they did. I think they ended up deciding that
ultimately, I think
having
this
them the
is
last two out of the last 4 years.
I think overall Notre Dame isn't going to enter themselves into the Pinstripe Bowl, or even put that, or Pinstripe Bowl's even going to put them into consideration. Though it's always an attractive game to have.
It's always a draw. I mean, you get a lot of alumni draws.
Listen, it's one of the biggest, probably the biggest university following in the country. Probably one of the top. Yeah. Overall, so you get a lot of people from any type of area.
Right, because with a bowl game, you're not necessarily drawing from the school directly. No. You're drawing more from the alumni pool.
Exactly.
And Notre Dame obviously has an alumni pool all throughout the country. New York's a hub. Yeah. I mean, it's a good fit for them. You'd get a great turnout.
Yeah. But the other thing was they didn't want what you said was 2. Notre Dame's only been there 1 actually. Really? They've been there twice though because they played Army 2 years ago, or three or 4 years ago, whatever it was. Yeah, 2 of the 4 years they played in Notre Dame State. I mean, in Yankee Stadium,
not for the Pinstripe.
Just one Pinstripe, but it was last year. The 2 was actually Rutgers too, because we had to play a Big Ten. It's ACC versus Big Ten. That's how the Pinstripe Bowl works. Yeah. So Rutgers has been the Pinstripe Bowl 2 of the last 4 years. Same idea as Notre Dame. So Rutgers will not be in the Pinstripe Bowl, which is music to my ears because I really don't want to deal with Rutgers if they ever, in the slightest of chance, being a New Jersey person, beat Boston College in the Pinstripe Bowl. I don't want to have to hear it from, the pride of New Jersey. So, So ultimately, I think that we're going to end up in the Pinstripe Bowl because it's such an attractive game if you're, first of all, a Pinstripe Bowl executive, because every single person you basically recruit is from this area. You're in the ACC, which is the Atlantic Coast. Yes, you have to be on the Atlantic Coast to be in the ACC. No, you don't anymore. And what it should be is that you're going to get alumni from the area. They usually stay on the Atlantic Coast. I mean, some obviously don't. Right. But it's a very attractive game for people who can easily come down the train from Boston, can come up from New Jersey, can come up from Delaware, can go up from Pennsylvania, the Philly area, and then you have New York. You have that entire area to embrace. And then if you're playing a Big Ten team, most likely I think ultimately it's going to be Penn State if you're going to get a team. So that's a huge demographic in this area. It is. In the Mid-Atlantic area.
It's a great game for the program. Yeah. That's what you really got to hope for. I think best case scenario, BC gets the Pinstripe Bowl with Penn State.
Yes. I ultimately think that's where it should be. Other people are saying, looks like the Gator Bowl. I hadn't heard that one.
No,
this guy's really feeling the Gator Bowl's going to go. We play South Carolina, and that's pretty interesting. Yeah. But everybody here, you have 4 people playing Penn State. One said Rutgers, probably not going to happen. No. Sun Bowl has also been versus Stanford. That's pretty interesting because Stanford had kind of a down year. Ultimately
Stanford's interesting. And then we've got Fox Sports saying, Fox Sports, who covers the Pac-12 network, saying Sun Bowl versus Arizona State. I wouldn't like to see that because I'm sorry, if we go play Arizona State in the Sun Bowl, we're getting blown out. There's just no way.
Yeah. It was like last year with Arizona. It was the same idea. It was basically their territory. Just playing a game there. And it's a home game. Yeah. Military Bowl was immediately what I thought was for the longest time we're going to get in. It's just the teams that we be playing in that, it's really not attractive.
No, it's
I'm not sure. Is it what I don't even know what conference. It would be Memphis and UCF, teams like that. I'm not even sure what conference that is.
Is that the AAC now?
Probably, yeah. So, and then the other thing would be the Quicken Lane Bowl.
Out in Detroit.
Yeah.
That would be a
Yeah.
fun place to play, right?
Yeah. No.
Just
It's
ask
just
Buffalo.
So if you are Boston College, you are praying that you get picked for the Pinstripe Bowl.
Definitely.
And if you think about it, what other ACC team could actually fit into the Pinstripe Bowl demographic?
No, nobody can demographically. Nobody really. The only people that are close to us, Louisville wouldn't fit demographically. Really, I mean,
Yeah.
they're not going to have anybody up here.
And then matchup wise, so demographically / matchup wise.
Matchup wise, Louisville, Penn State would probably be a good game.
It's going to be an 8-4, 7-5 team that's going to get the Pinstripe Bowl. The Pinstripe Bowl is not going to take a 6-6.
No.
So you have an 8-4 or a 7-5 team. So that leaves. That honestly leaves Boston College as one of the best fits. But then you have people you could make a case for Louisville.
Yeah.
You could make a case for. Let me think. What's one of the teams?
Well, I mean, Clemson.
NC State was 6-6, right? I think so.
Where did Clemson finish? Clemson finished.
They're a little bit higher. I think.
Are they 9-3?
Not sure exactly on that.
But I've got a friend who's saying Clemson for the Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
So, hoping that.
Well, yeah, it's definitely possible too.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I don't see any other teams that really fit in there other than Louisville. I've heard Louisville. So.
Yeah.
And then Big Ten wise, I don't know who else other than Penn State that could really. I mean, Rutgers.
Rutgers would be the fit, but you don't.
The only
want
thing I
Rutgers
do not
again.
want to see Maryland. Maryland is just
that would be brutal. I mean, I don't know. Maryland's not bad. Penn State's a great. That's a good game for the program. You get a win there. That's a great game.
Yeah,
that's
and
what you gotta
it's
hope
in
for.
an area that is so heavily populated by Penn State alum.
Yeah,
I mean, who wouldn't from Pennsylvania? This game would be. I mean,
be packed to the
ultimately,
brim.
it was like the same thing last year. I was at the Pinstripe Bowl, Notre Dame and Rutgers. You have Rutgers people, New Jersey, all flock to the stadium, and then you have Notre Dame. You can't go wrong. You're gonna find Notre Dame people everywhere. So I think this is another one of those demographically dominant games that you can really have, where it's really going to benefit you as the Yankees organization. It's going to benefit the people that want to see them. I want to see Pinstripe Bowl. I'm not going to Detroit.
No.
The only other place I would go would be Military Bowl. I would go down to D.C.
See, that wouldn't be a trek for me. I couldn't
That's
make
the
that
thing.
trek.
See, a D.C. trek would be what, 6-7 hours for you?
Longer than
7
that.
hours, 8 hours. Yeah. Because for me, it'd be like 3 hours. So it'd be just as good or bad as coming up here, as every way you look at it. So we'll have to see going forward. I hopefully get the Pinstripe Bowl. I think that's the best for them.
Yeah,
I think that's the way it's going to work out for them. Another, I don't know if you want to keep talking about anything else regarding
I think BC football is pretty.
Ultimately, that's probably it's going to wrap. Well, I mean, until the bowls.
Until bowls come out. Bowls come out. Sunday. We'll know by next week. Yeah.
Sunday.
We'll
Sunday.
be able to talk about it.
Yeah. So
after the conference championships.
Other things. Yeah. Other things to note. Tyler Murphy won team MVP. So fantastic for him. He did great. I think he ended up finishing first in the ACC in rushing, I would guess.
I believe so, yeah.
And then he finished, I think, 4th overall as best QB, which is a fantastic stat for him coming in with a team he didn't know, playing in a different environment with only knowing really like 3 people, bringing, I think it was 1 O-lineman, a coach, and maybe a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly on that. So fantastic job for him. I mean, as much as people criticize him because, he doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, as everybody clearly knows.
Yeah.
He could easily, he could have been
a lot
ultimately, yes, it could have been a lot worse. And ultimately, if you're going to talk about, NFL, I mean, could he play there? Not as a quarterback. But could you see him being like a Denard Robinson type figure? Denard Robinson, Brad Smith.
I don't know.
I don't know his catching skills. I don't think he caught a ball for us this year. But
no, I don't know. I'd be interested.
It would be pretty interesting. I've thought about that.
I don't think he won't get drafted.
No, absolutely not. But he may
get. He could find his way.
Who knows? People may be looking for that goal line. No, I won't say that. That goal line. I don't know. Denard Robinson got drafted. And I think, but he had a lot stronger of an arm. But still, you put him in Wildcat formations. Denard Robinson's like the number 1 rusher on Jacksonville. So if you put him in just say an Oakland team that would need to swap him with any.
Oakland. I mean, give David Carr a run for his money, right?
So, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. But
let's just hope for the Pinstripe Bowl, hope for a win,
and
hope Adazio and Murphy can finish out strong this season.
Yeah.
All right.
We don't even need to play the intro.
No, we'll just keep going.
We'll
keep
just keep
powering
going.
through.
Yeah. You're listening to Two Dudes Sports Show here on WVBC, the Boston College AM radio station. We're here every Thursday from 7 to 8. Check us out on YouTube. We are talking about college football. We just finished up with Boston college football, and now we're going to talk about NCAA college football. So, Quinn, how about you give us a little bit of a rundown of what's happening right now with the college football playoff and how we're looking?
All right, sounds good. So right now, the top 4 is the same as it was last week. A little bit shaken up, though. Bama stays at number 1. Oregon stays at number 2. TCU, however, gets the vote of confidence, jumps Florida State, who has still yet to lose. Florida State, another shaky performance against Florida. Florida really gave them a run. I thought they should have been. I thought they should have put themselves in a better position to win the game. I thought they did. Just a lot of tough penalties, a lot of balls didn't really fall their way. And Jameis, the same thing that we saw against BC, where he didn't turn up his performance. We love to be a hater, I guess, but it's nice to see Jameis kind of like getting the reels back on reality.
Yep.
Although, like as much as I hate him, or not him personally, but Florida State, just like I'm done with Florida State.
No, nobody. The only thing I like about Florida State is I found a remix of their war chant.
I've seen that. That is very cool.
That is really cool.
No, they've got great fans,
awesome.
but like I'm ready to see them.
I would do that for days. I would just do that for days. Did I lose the mic?
You just lose.
I lost the mic. I'm back. No, I'm not.
But definitely,
No.
I mean, like,
Yes,
I would love to. As much as I'd love to see them lose, it'd also be very cool to see him go undefeated in his college career. There'd be something special about that.
Sure.
But in any case, they fall to 4. The committee is just hoping for them to lose. The committee has made it very clear in my eyes by moving them to number 4. They don't want them.
They are the only undefeated team left.
Yeah.
And you moved them to number 4. They don't want you there.
In FBS. Not even like in the Power 5 conferences.
No.
They are the only undefeated team left. Marshall finally lost.
Shame. What a barn burner that was.
Yeah, seriously. Oh my
disgusting.
God. Yeah. But
they do not teach defense out there.
No. But so I mean that's what the playoff committee is looking for. They're looking for a Florida State loss. Ohio State sitting at number 5 right now. Unfortunate for them, TJ Barrett goes down. JT Barrett.
I'm TJ.
Yeah,
cool.
JT Barrett goes down, broken ankle. Good, sportsmanship show from Devin Gardner.
That's been hyped like a lot.
Just
because
it's
a rivalry.
It's simple.
Anybody would have done that with morals. So
right.
I mean, fantastic that you did it. It's just like it's amazing how much the media hypes up stuff. Just
exactly.
It's like the same thing. Like if Justin Pedroia got like drilled in the head and CC Sabathia came over and kneeled next to him. You're like, oh, it's like,
yeah,
I don't know. And you just drilled him in the head.
Yeah, I mean, like, good.
I know it wasn't Devin Gardner's fault, but I'm just saying, same idea.
But good moment. Yeah. Just kind of whatever. But in any case, so now they got Cardale Jones, I believe that's it.
Sure. They're on the third string now.
Third string quarterback. Yeah. They've got Wisconsin.
They're still number 5.
They're still
going
number 5.
with a backup, which is fantastic. But I mean, a backup in college football is just a stud that hasn't been revealed yet.
It's true, and that's what we saw with JT Barrett. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's what we see with Cardale Jones. Although, have you seen him? He looks like Rohan Davey. The kid is huge.
I have not seen him at all yet.
He is giant. I was watching the game, and God, he's a big kid.
I turned it off because at that point I think the game was over. When
it was. I was really hoping it wasn't, but it was. But so in any case, So they've got the Big Ten Championship this weekend. Yeah. They're facing off against Wisconsin. If they win, I think it's very impressive for them. You've got a third-string quarterback who is able to come out and beat Wisconsin. Speaks to the strength of the rest of the team. Also speaks to the strength of your recruiting at the quarterback position. On the flip side, though, with a third-string quarterback, are you really going? I mean, and at this point, he's just a regular backup. You can pretty much call him a second string. He's played, second string the whole season.
Yeah.
So with a backup quarterback, are you going to be able to compete in the Final Four? And by the way, how long until it gets dubbed the Final Four? Like they've been staying away from that, but like
I don't
hockey
know.
took it with the Frozen Four. Yeah. I'm just waiting for it to now become that. Maybe when it gets like expanded to 8 teams, they'll do that. But in any case,
I think you could call it the Football Four.
The Football Four.
I mean, you got to give it something.
We'll petition for that.
Yeah, I don't know. NCAA, maybe the college basketball side probably wouldn't appreciate the NCF side taking it. So.
But in any case, so I think the committee would also be very hesitant to put them in because it would be hard to believe they can compete because they don't. I mean, Wisconsin's down at 13, so yeah, if you beat Wisconsin, it's very impressive. But it's not the top 4 teams you're going to be, or the top 3 teams that you'd be playing.
Sure.
I don't
and
think
it does kill you. It kills you that JT Barrett got hurt. You know, it's a real shame.
Yeah, it is.
It's just They're not going to put you. They're not going to put a limping. I mean, not limping because if you beat Wisconsin, it's not limping, but it's appeared to be a injury-stricken team.
Yeah.
And you're not going to put you just say just say every single team in the top 4, or just say Florida State drops. So you put Ohio State in there. You're not going to put Ohio State up against Alabama. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I really believe that you'd need 3 teams to lose.
Yeah.
I mean, you need Alabama, Florida State, and Baylor to lose.
Yeah, you definitely need...
If Alabama and Florida State lose, Baylor hops you. And...
Yeah.
Well, I mean, then you'd need one more, I guess. So
I mean, if just say Alabama loses to Missouri, Oregon loses to Arizona, and then Florida State loses to...
Well, I mean, that's 3.
Yeah, that's a lot. Okay. Well, Arizona... The only way Arizona's getting in is if they beat Oregon.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And even then, it'd be quite hard.
Even then, if Baylor wins, do they jump Baylor? I don't know. There's a lot of different ways this can be taken. So.
Yeah, but so in any case, so your top 4 right now: Alabama, Oregon, TCU, Florida State. Outside of that, you've got your 5, 6, 7. That's really it for who's alive.
Yeah,
I'd say you've got
ultimately
Ohio State at 5, and they're just kind of a placeholder in my mind. I don't think they're going to get in.
No.
Baylor at number 6. They've probably got the best shot of anybody to get in. Probably the most.
Do you see
most able to make a case for
Baylor hired a hype man?
Did they really?
Yes, they hired a physical position at Baylor is a hype man. That's awesome.
They're really big into the sideline antics, though.
Yeah,
I mean, it
they're
works
fantastic.
for them.
I love that. I watched the USC Notre Dame game this weekend. They have guys that are like absolutely jacked that just say like strength or power. And all they do is, like, if they make a big play or something, or not even a big play, they'll come behind the guy if it's by the sideline, just, like, nail him, like, kill him on the shoulder, or just scream on the side. I love that. Because that's something that, when I was playing sports, I love to get, like, I don't know, inspired by something, someone screaming something, whatever. But it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it was. And then at 7, Arizona's got the case. If they beat Oregon, they can make a case to get in, too. But outside of that, Michigan State, obviously, they're behind Ohio State.
Right.
Kansas State is behind either TCU or Baylor. So even if they beat Baylor, TCU's not losing their place to them. And they shouldn't.
And then,
Mississippi State with the loss, they're gone to...
even Georgia Tech wouldn't get them all the way up.
No, I really couldn't.
No.
So that's pretty much it. So you're down to your top 7 now, which is probably the narrowest field we've seen so far. But this weekend should provide some clarity, definitely. So you've got Alabama taking on Missouri in the SEC championship game. Oregon taking on Arizona in the Pac-12 championship game. Oregon looking to exercise some demons. The only blemish on their record came to Arizona early in the season. They were very depleted at the time. They had 3 of their original starting 5 linemen were injured. They were starting 2 true freshmen at offensive line.
Yeah.
They're a stronger team. Their offensive line is meshed. They'll be getting Coronis Grasu back. Their starting center, senior captain. He'll be coming back. I look for them to handle Arizona better. The defense has been stepping up as of late. They blew out Oregon State, went up 30-0, ended up winning 47-17. So I mean, you've
seen it before too. You saw this year with Stanford. I mean, Stanford didn't live up to the potential, but Stanford could still easily go into Oregon and steal a win if they wanted to. It's the same thing with all those teams. They could easily do that.
Yep.
So it was like the same thing. The USC just
lost
destroying
Notre
Dame. College football just doesn't make sense on a week-to-week basis. You see it all the time. So
for sure.
I mean, and Oregon just absolutely demolished Stanford. So I think ultimately Arizona coming back, like Oregon's going to want no part of going 0-2 to Arizona and losing their spot.
Because Arizona beating them last year is what kept them out of the national championship game. If they beat them then, they get in with the 1 loss. This year, doesn't happen. Same thing. That's their only loss. I think they come out, win big, hopefully. I mean, that's what I'm looking for.
Ultimately, I think that's going to happen. I don't think there's any way. I mean, Arizona's a fantastic team, but, I mean, they did squeak a by against Arizona State. They've had good wins this year, but it's not as compelling as Oregon's year's been, And they got one big win against them, so they're not gonna. I think Oregon's gonna take it. So And I think ultimately, I don't think I can't see Alabama losing to Missouri.
No.
Can't see Oregon losing. TCU Baylor is just an interesting situation.
Yeah,
I don't know
so-
how it's going to be handled. But
Right. So
you
the way
wanna
that's
explain
the way that's sitting right now is TCU is at number 3. TCU is the only member of the top 4 who is not in their conference championship.
Mhm.
TCU sits at 10-1, as does Baylor, but Baylor is down at number 6. TCU's one loss comes to Baylor, who for
Right.
whatever reason is ranked 3 positions lower. In my mind, deservingly. I think TCU is a stronger team, but as far as records go, I think it's a little injustice towards Baylor.
Yeah.
Baylor, however, their only loss comes to West Virginia, a much weaker opponent. West Virginia has really lost themselves out. They lost themselves out of the top 25, so it really looks bad for Baylor. But in any case, Baylor is in the Big 12 Conference Championship. They'll be playing number 9 Kansas State. So that becomes very interesting if Baylor gets that win.
It's a statement game.
Yeah.
I just think ultimately, I mean, the way they used to play it, when you were a kid, was if you guys had the same record, whoever won the matchup got the higher seed. That's
Right.
the way it was. And this is completely opposite because you lost to a weaker West Virginia team, who, by the way, TCU beat on the last-second field goal. So I just want to put that out there.
It's true, yeah.
It's pretty interesting. TCU is having a fantastic year, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but,
Trevon Boykin.
I mean, when you beat a team that's ranked higher than you, and you have the same record as them, it's kind of interesting to see.
And you're splitting hairs too with how close you are. It's not like it's not like you're a really bad team who's been playing other really bad teams who had a big upset.
You're in the same conference.
You're in the same conference. You're playing the same opponents, and Baylor got the win.
Yeah, and they're just as convincing wins. That's the thing too.
Right, exactly.
So it's pretty interesting to see that Baylor is ranked so much lower than a TCU, because ultimately, as I've looked at it, I mean, I guess you're going to bring it down to how each game was played and how each team performed and the amount of points and everything. But I mean, TCU, for example, I think with 3 games to go, the AD tweeted, "We have run out of our pyrotechnics for the year because TCU has scored so many points."
Yeah.
So they put up a lot of points, but so does Baylor. It was the same thing with like RG3 era. When they went into their bowl game, I mean, it was ridiculous. They probably had like 60 points at halftime.
Yeah,
it's just
and
out
the
of
thing
this
is with
world.
that,
That's what
they
the
didn't have a
conference
defense, but since RG3 came through, now
Correct.
they've been recruiting. They have a little bit better defense.
Yes.
It's still a Big 12 defense. Big 12 not known for their defense right
No.
now. They're a very
They're barn burner
offensively
games.
heavy
They're barn burner games.
conference, which
Yeah.
is why I don't think they fare well in the playoffs. I mean, I could be wrong, and I said this to you on the bus ride over. I don't know too much about this TCU team. I can't tell you how strong they are. I don't know how strong they are. But, I mean, as an Oregon fan looking at us playing TCU, I'm not sure if I should be afraid. They don't seem like they're somebody who really poses too much of a challenge just because they're a great offensive team, but at the same time, they don't have a backbone defensively.
I mean, ultimately, if you're looking at their schedule, they beat Baylor by 3. So it's not that much of a convincing win. They put up 61 points. Baylor put up 58.
Lost to Baylor by 3.
Lost to Baylor by 3, sorry. They beat Oklahoma by 4. So that's another team that was ranked very, very high going to the season and just absolutely fell very low. They beat Texas Tech and dropped 82 points in them. That's a huge, huge win for them. They beat Oklahoma State, who was ranked 15th at the time, 42-9. So you have interesting, and they beat West Virginia by 1.
I think Kansas State, who's sitting at 9 now. They beat them by 3 touchdowns.
They beat them by 3 touchdowns. So you can make the case for either team as had their own commanding wins. I mean, if you look at Baylor, let's see.
I mean, that is the thing. They lost to West Virginia pretty
lost
badly.
to West Virginia badly. They didn't have a close game this entire season. Look at it.
No,
Did not have a
aside
close
from
game.
the TCU game, they didn't have a close game.
And it's the same schedule. It's the same teams.
Yeah, that's
only
true.
team that's not on. No, every team's on there. Oklahoma State wasn't ranked at the time. Oklahoma was a little bit lower.
Right.
But
and also
ultimately,
you can say the Texas Tech game, they only won by 2 points to Texas Tech. So we were missing that. That was a close game. That was a game that TCU did blow out.
Yeah.
But that in itself is not something that you can say, all right. Well, there's the reason.
Yep.
It doesn't make sense in your mind. The only thing you can say is objectively, which we did say is what was needed a little bit more in the playoff voting. You did want more of an objective, a subjective. You wanted a little bit more of a subjective voting system. That you didn't see that with the BCS computers and all that nonsense. So it is good to see a little bit of the eye test being used. But at the same time, if I'm Baylor, I'm pretty upset that
Oh yeah.
I could win this conference championship
Sure.
game, and that could have absolutely no meaning
I think
towards me getting in.
ultimately how bad they beat Kansas State is going to prove a lot. If
Yeah.
they go out there and they beat Kansas State 60-0, I don't see how you say, TCU is better than Baylor.
But
You're like, Baylor beat TCU. I don't see how. I mean, I get you had, but I mean, why should one bad loss kick you out of the entire playoff when you beat the team that's in there?
Yes,
That's my opinion.
absolutely.
But I think
But-
both teams are deserving.
But at the same time, if they win, how as TCU do you say, okay,
You justify getting kicked out.
how do you justify getting bumped out? I think that it would have to be Baylor winning and not getting in because of the precedent you've set by putting TCU ahead of them. I don't think you can swap TCU and Baylor because Baylor.
That's true.
I mean TCU. Yeah, that's great, but they didn't have an opportunity to lose. And in my mind, you shouldn't lose a position if you don't lose, which is why I think Florida State's just unbelievable that they
Yeah.
keep getting dropped.
Exactly.
But you can't justify
'Cause
TCU
they're
being
not
in the
play-
playoffs
I
one
mean-
weekend and then not without having an opportunity to do anything about it on the field.
Right.
So I think
Ultimately, if Alabama, Oregon, or Florida State loses and Baylor
Baylor's in.
wins, Baylor's the first one in.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate thing.
I think
They're
Baylor jumps Ohio
really
State.
polling for Missouri, they're really polling for Arizona, and they're really polling for Georgia Tech right
yeah.
now.
Now, if
And-
we look at those three,
Yeah.
I think I mean at least in my mind, the
Sure.
best shot is Georgia Tech.
I
think
agree.
Georgia Tech is the
I
best
100%
shot
agree.
of being Florida State. Florida State is just like limping into this game. A horrible game against
They-
BC. Horrible game against Florida. They are walking into this game and. I mean, they've lost the second half sting that they've had all season, and I don't know. Georgia Tech looks really well.
If you want to think about it, look at this entire year. If you want to start off with Clemson, okay, Jameis gets suspended for the entire game. They win by 6 in overtime with their backup quarterback. So that's a team effort. That's probably one of the best team games they played this entire year because they didn't have a starting quarterback. Then you look at NC State. They were trailing by, I think, 2 touchdowns at halftime to NC State, who's a 6-6 team. Then you look at Notre Dame, who they won because they called Notre Dame as a illegal blocking penalty in the final seconds, and it just negated everything. Then you look at Louisville, down by 2 touchdowns or whatever it was at the half. You
And
look
in
at
all these
the
games,
only
I'm sorry,
one.
in the
only one was
Louisville
Virginia.
game, the NC State game, they both came back. They win
Yes.
by 15 in
Yes.
NC State. They win by 11 at Louisville. Oh Jesus!
I got it.
Touch that anymore. They come all the way back, and they get the win, and they do it convincingly. But then against Miami, you only came back and won by 4. Against BC, you barely pulled that out. You pulled that out because of Roberto Aguayo. And then Florida, same thing. You win by 5. You barely pull these games out, and it's certainly not because of the play of Jameis. I just can't sit here and attribute those wins to Jameis.
That's why Jameis is not in the Heisman watch.
Right.
That's why Jameis did not win the ACC Player of the Year. Connors did from Pittsburgh. Jameis is not. When he goes, ultimately what's going to happen is here are the 2 scenarios that for people who do not like Jameis that they want to see. Number 1, they beat Georgia Tech. I know, right? I just said it. They beat Georgia Tech, and then they're number 4 going into the college football playoff, and they have to play Alabama. And Alabama absolutely whoops Florida State, and you're just like, music to my ears, Jameis, go to the NFL. Second scenario, Jameis wins everything, and you're just like, oh my goodness. And then some NFL team is like, I want Jameis, and you're just like, why would you do that? And then Jameis just goes, and he is Jamarcus Russell.
You know what? I'll tell you this.
Ultimately, it's going to happen.
The best scenario for me, I mean, aside from being an Oregon fan, I'd almost take a loss this year to Florida State. I hope Florida State wins because maybe that puts them ahead. Because the biggest struggle for me right now is, oh my God, if the Jets ever end up with Mariota, I don't know what I'll do. The internal struggle that will be will just be too much for me.
Happen.
I can't be a Jets fan,
but
I can't just abandon Mariota.
It's going to happen.
Speaking of Mariota, update on the Heisman. He's pretty much got it sewn up if he keeps playing the way he does. Unless he really craps the bed in this game against Arizona, it's his. It's his to win right now.
The only person you could put another is Melvin Gordon. Honestly, though, Amari Cooper. That's Cooper is very, very good. And, I hadn't really paid attention to that many Alabama games for the Iron Bowl, which I was so excited for. Because, nothing is better than the Iron Bowl. Amari Cooper absolutely took over the Iron Bowl. It was unbelievable. The guy was unbelievable.
It's true, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure.
No,
yeah,
there's no way
pulled
he's
away.
3. He's 3, and then Melvin Gordon's closer than you think just because he's put up amazing numbers.
Right, but if you do look at it, it's 9.
And he will run over, not fully run over, but he will have a good game against Ohio State. I don't think he'll have trouble with that.
No.
But that he's not going to jump Mariota. Even if Mariota loses to Arizona, I think Mariota still gets it.
Well, because Mariota's got 9 first-place votes to Gordon's 1 to everybody else's none.
Right.
So, I mean, it really looks like it's Mariota's. Interesting, no seniors on there.
JT Barrett. Wow.
Yeah.
He came out of nowhere.
Well, he's been on there for a little bit.
Okay, I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Mariota's going to get it. We have about 10 minutes left. We can move on to NFL.
Oh, geez,
but,
time flies.
Yeah, I know, right? So, ultimately, though, that's your Final Four. You know what? Let's do predictions.
Yeah,
what do you think your end of Final Four is going to be?
My end of Final Four, honestly...
Football 4.
Football 4.
Sorry.
My Football 4, heard it here first, 2 Sports Show, licensing Football 4.
Right,
we got to get a patent on that
If
real
that
quick.
actually happens, like, I'm going to send these tapes. It's not going to happen, though.
No.
Then people would harass that name. Continue.
Yeah, bold prediction here, it stays the same.
Okay.
Alabama's not tripping up against Missouri. That's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. I think Oregon takes care of business against Arizona. TCU has put themselves in a position where they really shouldn't and probably won't get kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Florida State somehow pulls it out again against Georgia Tech, and we end up staying the same as we were. I think it leaves the most people's feelings not hurt. You know, I think that if Ohio State wins, but everybody else wins, then they have no reason to be in.
Right.
Baylor wins, but everybody else wins. There's really not too much controversy. You can't make the case
Your
for
hype
them to
man
be
can
in.
do whatever he wants.
Yeah. So I think it stays the same way.
I completely agree with you. I think it's very possible to see that. Ultimately, though, I don't know why. I have a weird hunch that Georgia Tech's going to do it. Georgia Tech has been playing out of their minds good. Their game against Georgia, with their kicker hitting a 53-yarder, I mean, I was insane. I was going crazy, and then they blocked the PAT, or they got their PAT blocked, and then picked off the Georgia quarterback, which is just unbelievable going into Georgia's home stadium and in a rivalry game that means so much. So this game really, I mean, for Georgia Tech means the world, and obviously means the world to Florida State too, staying in this hunt. But I mean, the Cinderella story for Florida State winning these last second games has to run out eventually. It has to.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately it may end up with Alabama playing them in the Final Four, which I would love to see, because I don't think they will stand a chance against Alabama. But knowing Florida State, I mean, they'll probably beat Alabama. I'll just cry. So surprised I'm actually rooting for Alabama in this case, but I don't usually do that. But I think Florida State drops, and I think Baylor gets in. I think Baylor gets in. That's what I think is going to happen. They're not going to take Ohio State after JT Barrett got hurt. If they do, it would just be interesting. They would move them to 4, and then they would just get absolutely crushed by Alabama. And you feel bad. You're like, oh, Alabama, why are you doing that? But if you put Jameis in there, you're like, yeah, Alabama, why are you doing that? I like that. So it'll be interesting. I could easily see Florida State winning so easily. But I think Georgia Tech could pull out a nice, maybe 1-point win right there. So
we will see.
And I'll say Baylor sneaks in, because I think Baylor will take care of Kansas State because they need to.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, let's move right into the NFL. Obviously, a lot happened this past weekend. Game of the century, Brady. I almost said Manning. Rodgers and Brady meeting for the first time, which is shocking to think about.
Yeah, it is.
And it lived up to its hype. Fantastic game.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, for you, it probably wasn't.
I mean, look, it was a great game.
Yeah.
I mean, at least for me, like, I can look at that game and say, I mean, like, at least me, this is obviously a Patriots
I would love
bias.
to see it again.
I don't think we lose to that team again. I think that we played them really close. I think we made mistakes at the end. I think letting a touchdown in with 45 seconds in half is a mistake that you're never going to see Darrelle Revis make again.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers played a hell of a game. They have so much firepower on the offense. And it was a great game. It was a close game at the end. I mean,
it was a great coached game by both sides.
Yeah.
I think ultimately, I mean, what can you say? I mean, it was a fantastic game overall. Being an objective watcher, I mean, I really couldn't care less who won the game. I guess you could say NFC bias for me, but I just wanted to see a fantastic game, and that's what I saw. Amazing game. Brady's been playing out of his mind. Good. Rodgers, same thing. They're both sneaky good teams that started off season, and then just jumped into just amazing games. So it'll be interesting to see both these teams going forward. But we'll move straight into the week we have ahead. So tonight at 8:25, we have the boys playing the Bears in Chicago. Cowboys coming off a tough loss at home to Philadelphia. Yeah,
great loss. I was so happy.
It was an amazing game. It was a really good game to watch. LaShawn McCoy and even the offensive line for Philadelphia was very, very good. Mark Sanchez
the real deal.
played
Philadelphia
a fantastic
is the
game.
real deal.
And it was a lot of people knocked them down because of the way they played in Green Bay. You guys don't understand how good Green Bay is. Yeah. Playing in Green Bay, I mean, you watch the Patriots do it. I think the Patriots are better than the Eagles, obviously, and they suffer from the same thing. I mean, obviously the Eagles' loss was a lot bigger deficit-wise, but you had a team that went out there and handled the boys. So do the Cowboys go on the road and they take it from the Bears?
I mean, honestly, yeah, I think they do. There'd be nothing that make me happier than to see the Bears take it. Andy Carney, just like we mentioned, he's got to get the most shout-outs of anybody.
I think he does, yeah. Every time
I've never, until I got here, I didn't hate the Cowboys more. But oh my God, Tony Romo, it's December. The court is come. It's ready to be picked. You're gonna start losing, dude.
Yeah.
And so maybe, I don't know,
yeah,
but I think they go into Soldier Field and take it.
Okay. Overall, Bears haven't been playing the best of their ability either. They got.
When does Jay Cutler ever though?
Yeah, I know, right? They played Thanksgiving Day 2 against the Lions. Lions, one of those teams that you can come out and the Lions could be the best team in the NFL, and then the next week just look absolutely horrendous. That's what the Lions are.
Yeah.
And they looked horrendous in the beginning of the game. Bears jumped out, and then the Lions just demolished them. So, ultimately, Bears at home, I don't think it makes a difference.
No.
I think they're just a team
that's
going.
And
the Cowboys are angry. They lost their number one spot in the NFC East. The Eagles are now in the playoffs, and basically,
they are.
based on the way it's going, I don't think two NFC East teams are going to get in. I think it's going to be the Lions and the Packers that get in. Lions are going to get the wild card. So with the NFC West the way they're playing, though it may drop really, really easily with the way the Cardinals are. So, are we allowed to quote that?
Yeah, Andy Carney telling me I am a dead man. Thank you, Andy. Well,
I didn't hear anything wrong of what you said. I mean, I'm a Giants fan, so I can
dislike
the Cowboys.
I've never
I
hated
don't know
the
who
Cowboys
I dislike more as a Giants fan, though, the Cowboys or the Eagles. Anyway, Andy, let's make you happy. I'm going to pick the Cowboys, too.
I picked the Cowboys, too. Think about it. I picked the Cowboys.
You picked the Cowboys, Andy. Jeez, settle down. So, yeah, we both picked the Cowboys. I don't think they're going to get into the playoffs, and I think the Eagles have a very good schedule to help them with that. So, both of us are picking the boys. Let's move on to the next game. We got the Steelers at the Bengals.
I think the Steelers played really well for a short period of time. I think that's over.
I could easily see that.
I mean, they're old. They are old. James Harrison had to come back. You're old.
Yeah.
Brett Kiesel's got a beard that's down to my feet.
He's hurt, too.
Yeah.
So,
but, you're old.
And dropping a game to the Saints with the NFC South the way they are
the
is just
win
bad.
Outside of the conference.
That's just bad, yeah.
So I'm going to go Bengals.
And Bengals being at home, it helps a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Bengals, too. Rams at the Redskins. Those are two teams that just... Actually, the Rams have been playing very good. Redskins just not. So that's pretty much a easy...
But, I mean, I'm going to...
RG3's out, though.
Yeah, that's true. He's done in Washington. I think his career there is over. So, I'm going to go with Rams.
Yeah, I'll take the Rams, too. Redskins just way too much in turmoil. But Colt McCoy, who knows? Giants at the Titans. Giants lost to the Jaguars.
You know what?
last week.
I didn't think the Giants could lose to the Jaguars.
We were winning 20. You know what?
You were way up.
It was 21-3 at halftime. 21-3.
Were you up 21-0 at one point?
Probably. I don't know. You think they broadcast that game up there? It's disgusting. Yeah. No.
I'll say this. So
I was following on the game tracker.
My roommate is just like, you know what? Let's just tank
let's
the season for the top pick.
Let's get some. I mean,
and you've got including last week, you have a horrible
with the way that
schedule.
Odell Beckham Jr. is going to turn out.
He looks fabulous.
Savior.
The one bright spot in your team.
Yeah.
But in any case, I didn't think you could lose to the Jaguars, but you really want that top spot.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with the Titans here.
Nah, Giants. You can't lose to the Jaguars and the Titans back-to-back weeks. So yeah, Giants will take it. Panthers at the Saints. the matchup of the NFC.
Yeah,
South.
seriously, I really want
Disgusting.
the Panthers to win to just really throw everything back into confusion. You can
Yeah.
have Panthers. You've got to be like the worst team ever to still mathematically be alive at this point. You have 2 wins on the
Yeah, it's
season,
pretty disgusting.
but no, you're not going to New Orleans.
No,
and taking the
Saints
all the way
at
there.
home are just so good.
Yeah.
Jets at the Vikings.
Vikings. I mean, I don't know. The Jets.
I don't even know. I don't know. It's just one of those games. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope the Jets start winning. I just like if anybody could just come in and swoop Mariota, literally anybody, except for the Giants or the Cowboys.
Teddy Terrific gets it in Minnesota. Ravens at the Dolphins.
I think the Dolphins get it. I think it's an important one for them.
Sure.
The Dolphins aren't bad. I mean, they played Denver pretty well. Kind of blew it up at the end. But I'd be happy to see 2 AFC East teams make it. I'm going to give it to the Dolphins.
I think the Ravens are mad with the way that game went.
Yeah,
when they played the Chargers last week. I watched that game because that's one of the games I actually broadcast up here.
Ravens.
So I think ultimately, I think the Ravens are going to go down and steal one from the Dolphins. Dolphins had a tough game in New York, and they snuck out with a win. So Colts at the Browns. A lot of controversy in Cleveland.
Yeah. I saw this one thing, and it was the only site that's going to post something like this. The real reason behind Johnny Manziel getting benched. Barstool did a piece on this.
Classic.
The game is a day after Johnny Manziel's 21st birthday. All right? He's not going to be in any condition to play.
He may not make it.
He may not make it onto the sidelines. I think it's a good call.
It's going to be like the water
putting
boy
Hoyer
and show
back
up in
in.
the third quarter.
Yeah, Hoyer's stats are absolutely miserable, though. I've been really pushing for him. He's an ex-Patriot, and that's great and everything. But, dude, really miserable stats on the season. I'm still going to pull for the Browns, still going to pull for Josh Gordon to come in and save me fantasy-wise. I'm really looking for a big win. It's playoff season.
Sure.
Need him to show up. Need him to get a first touchdown on the season. But, no, I'm going to go with Colts.
Yeah, I can't take the Browns in this scenario either. I think the Colts have been playing very well for a team. I mean, the only real bad game they've had this entire year was probably the Patriots. It's just because the Patriots ran over them. So I'll take the Colts too. The Bucks at the Lions. Is this one of those trap games for the Lions?
It could be. The Bucks aren't as bad as people think they are. I mean,
Mike Evans is the future.
Yeah, he is. He's
So
really, really
good.
good. I dropped him early in the season. He wasn't performing. I should
Well,
have given him a little more time.
Yeah.
No, but I'm gonna go with the Lions. I think it could be a trap game, but I think the Lions will pull it.
Lions are my pick team for the year, so I can't pick against them right now. So
There you go.
Lions. Texans at the Jaguars. Let me say that again. J.J. Watt versus the Jaguars.
You know what, J.J. Watt, I think you've made a real case. You should be the MVP.
I hope he wins MVP.
Yeah, I think so too.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's somebody. I mean, there was some article that my roommate found about if J.J. Watt was a true tight end, would he be better than Rob Gronkowski? I'm sorry, no. He was a tight end. He moved.
Yeah, he moved for a reason. But
it's amazing that he comes in every time and he gets the ball.
Blocking matchup.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but why cover him?
Yeah,
cover it makes no sense to me.
If he's in the game, he's
right.
The ball, so.
Yeah, but five TDs on the
good.
season. And they're not going to lose to the Jags.
Yeah.
Texans.
Yeah, same thing. Texans. Bills at the Broncos. I mean, this is one of those weeks where I think not a lot of games could go either way.
No, yeah, I think it's Broncos at home.
Yeah.
Bills could put up a fight, but
just Broncos at home. I mean, yeah.
Bills aren't terrible, but
Bills are not terrible, but I don't think Kyle Orton goes into Denver and takes a win.
Team, maybe.
No. Chiefs at the Cardinals. Do you think the Chiefs can
this is one of the ones that could go either way.
Cardinals team?
I think you start seeing the 4:00 games could go either way, except for the 49ers.
Actually, there's a very though the Raiders did beat the Chiefs in a game that was our last show. We talked about how the Raiders are just disgusting.
I mean, they're still disgusting.
They're still disgusting.
Let's not get it wrong.
Sure. Lost to the Rams 52-0.
Yeah, that was gross, but I don't know. Maybe the Cards. They don't look good. I mean, they've certainly fallen off since Carson's been gone. But Chiefs had a tough loss against Denver. I'll give it to the Chiefs, though. We'll go Chiefs.
Okay. They're going to go with Cardinals. I'll take the Chiefs, too. Disappointing. I'll take the Chiefs also. I think Arizona is imploding.
Yeah,
Arizona's imploding.
It's unfortunate.
It's really sad, but I just don't think Drew Stanton's going to lead the team anywhere.
No.
Seahawks at the Eagles. This is probably the best game of the day.
Yeah, this is a struggle for me. I mean, I like both teams here. I think the Eagles are really good, and Eagles at home, so I'd give them a slight edge. But I mean, the Seahawks are coming into their own. It took them a while to get figured out, but they're 8-4, and they look really, really good.
No, how they played against 49 was amazing.
Yeah,
they played so good.
Definitely, yeah. And it was good to see. I love how much Richard Sherman turns out for those games. It's good to see. Nobody on the planet hates Jim Harbaugh more than Richard Sherman does. but I don't think they bring the same emotion, and I think the Eagles get this one.
I think the Seahawks go in and take it from the Eagles, ultimately. I think Mark Sanchez is going to have a lot of trouble with the Seahawks and their defensive secondary. So, ultimately, I think this is where the Seahawks prove that they could take the NFC West. 49ers at the Raiders. Do we feel the same on this one?
I think it's pretty clearly the Raiders.
There you go. Patriots at the Chargers. It's 49ers, by the way.
Yeah, 49ers. Patriots. I mean, like, I don't need to go too in depth. You played who's probably the best team in the NFL right now. You played them really tough. I don't think anybody's on the Packers and the Patriots level. I think they're both going to end up in the Super Bowl against each other. But I'm going to go with the Patriots. I mean, Chargers got a big win against the Ravens, but it shouldn't be a big win when you're playing the Ravens at this point. So
yeah. I think this is going to be one of those games, warm environment. Patriots aren't really used to it, and I think Patriots go down early, but I think the Patriots find their own. They're like, we cannot deal with this. Like, we're the Patriots. We can't lose 2 games in a row, and they're ultimately going to take it from the Chargers. But I think it's one of those games in the beginning people are like, what the heck's going on with New England? But I think ultimately the Patriots will take it. And
they've gotten a reboost. Now they have more to prove again.
Yeah. You have the Packers we've been talking about at home again, and you have Matty Ice, Boston College alum, going into Lambeau Field. Do the Falcons take it over the Packers?
They do not. The NFC South is piss poor this year, and I mean, I'm convinced. I didn't watch too many Packers games, but watching them against the Patriots, they dissected the defense at some points. They looked really, really good. Defense got some good stuff. We've got a good defense. Aaron Rodgers is the real deal for sure. It's between him and Brady right now for the best quarterback in the league.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, he's got the win, so I'd give him the edge.
Exactly.
I don't think he loses to Atlanta.
No. Atlanta, anybody going into Lambeau Field is just, it's one of those, there's one of those fields, Lambeau, New England, Denver, and New Orleans. Those are my 4. That if you're going in there, you automatically, I knock 10% of my confidence off more. Probably 25% of my confidence goes away. If
you know what the funny thing is, though? 2 of those, at least this year, 1 of them, but then, the other one too. If you put them away, it's a totally different team.
That's the thing.
I think the Patriots and the Packers still play the same way.
Yes.
Denver and New Orleans, totally different team outside of home.
I mean, like, New Orleans being home this week, Denver being home this week, Packers being home this week, Patriots are the only ones on the road. Yeah. But there's no way the Falcons, who play in the hottest environment, or in a dome, but still, in the hottest temperature and everything, are going to go into Lambeau Field and take anything from the Packers.
No.
Packers proved a lot with their win against New England, and they're going to prove it again by beating Atlanta.
Yep.
So
there you go.
That's all we've got. Thank you for tuning in. Two Dudes Sports Show. You can check us out on YouTube right after. You can watch this. You can go back and check out any point of the topic that we had tonight, or check out any of our previous shows. We're on Facebook at Two Dudes Sports Show. I'm TJ Hardnett.
I'm Quinn Kelly. Quick shout out before we go. Severian Hawks at Gillette this weekend for the Super Bowl. Going to be turning out.
You going to go?
Big one. Oh, yeah, of course.
That's
big
really
one
cool.
against Everett. It's
Is
going to be awesome.
Is it state championship?
State championship.
What day is it?
It is Saturday. Welcome to come. We're going to tailgate in the driveway. Cool. It's going to be great. Because you can't tailgate at Gillette for a high school game.
Correct.
So.
No, that's a shame.
It is a shame.
Well, that actually sounds really appealing, so I'm definitely gonna take that into consideration.
All right, there we go.
All right, awesome.
All right.
That's Two Dudes Sports Show. Check us out.
That's right. 21 to 24, 286 yards, 3 touchdowns. Still a
It's
dude.
better than this. Guys being dudes. Matt Ryan,
That's a dude.
Heisman Trophy. Bronco Nagurski Award.
Ultimate
Raji
dudes.
on my left, Herzlich on my right.
2 dudes. O-line you. Bunch of dudes.
Dudes to the right, dudes to the left, stuck in the middle with you.
WZBC, the Boston College Radio Network, the voice of the Eagles.